Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection. Bring you three unique perspectives of varying skill range. I am the one surviving the winter. Andrew, with me, the one you want to keep in the ice block. Keith,
Hello.
and the one who keeps me warm at night. Our returning host, Liz. And this week, we played Wildfrost by Deadpan Games. I was called the Deadpan Studios. Wildfrost is a deck building roguelike where you are playing a one of three tribes who are trying to bring back the sun because the sun has been covered in a block of ice and the world has frozen over. So you are one of the three tribes that are going out trying to bring back the sun to the world.
I thought you were gonna test us. I feel like you with games like this, you're like, Liz, did you catch the story? Well, you didn't. You just said it.
Liz, did you catch the story?
Is is Liz's audio being picked up? I feel like we had this last time because she doesn't sound like it for me.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, Liz, start
Oh
over again.
no!
Thank you, Keith, for now saying that once we started recording.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying that I thought you were going to test me and ask me what the story was, but you didn't, and now I don't have to because you already spilled the beans.
Sorry, people, I had Liz's mic off. And I guess, but we will get into this. Going around though, so Keith, as our main roguelike expert here, was Wild Frost a gamer pass for you?
So I've been playing Wild Frost now for like a month and a half or so
Yes,
because like
yeah, it's been
when
about
it
on
came out.
the Game Pass. Yeah,
Yeah, I basically I started playing this when it came out on Game Pass before we decided we were going to do it as a game. I just started playing it. I think visiting guest Aaron from Superpod
yep.
had really highly praised Wild Frost when he had been on the show, and figured okay, give it a shot, and it's a lot of fun. If you, I think this is going to be at least in this vein. Like I'm not going to sell you on deck builders or roguelikes if they're not your style. But if you like this style of play, if you've liked Slay the Spire, if you've liked Monster Train, if you've liked Inscription, you're probably gonna like Wild Frost. It's fun. It's good time.
I'm gonna give it a game as well. When I first started playing it, I immediately thought like, I kind of wish I was playing Slay the Spire, but I think that's just because it's like in this style of game, that's my comfort game. You know what I mean? It's like I started with Stardew. I'm always gonna go back to Stardew, and I think though, I'm not saying that this is not as good as Slay the Spire. I'm actually the more I play it, the more I'm loving it, and I think it's like the perfect. It's on Switch, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
perfect
I don't know.
It
maybe.
is.
It's a
Yep.
Okay.
perfect road trip game because that's something that I mean lately I haven't been able to play games or read in the car because I've been getting car sick. But when I'm not car sick, it's like the perfect game to play on the Switch. I feel like. Um and yeah, I really enjoyed it and I think it's a beautiful game.
I'm giving it a definite game. I think this actually might be my favorite deck builder roguelike. I absolutely love Slay the Spire, but playing a lot of Slay the Spire, I've noticed it's very hard to progress past. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like the difficulties, like above tier one, so the next harder difficulty.
Ascensions.
Ascensions, that's what it's called. Good job, Keith. I find it very difficult to progress in Slay the Spire, but in Wild Frost, what I love about it is that it is simple and it is super quick. Slay the Spire, a lot of those runs can take some time. Like, yes, you can have some speed runs, but Wild Frost to me was super easy to sit down, play, few minutes. It saves super well.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I love that about that.
So to me, I actually think this might be my favorite deck builder roguelike. So this is a definite game for me.
I feel like when it comes to Slay the Spire, the first couple of the first two people that you can be, I think it's easier to get the hang of it versus this. There kind of is a lot at once, like with all the buildings and like learning the different builds you can do and stuff.
I disagree.
I felt like it was slightly. slightly more complicated, or at least for the way that my brain works. What was the other game that I didn't like uh that was cards roguelike?
That's a
Monster
very
Train.
long list.
We haven't
No,
played a
she
lot of
like you
card
like
games.
Monster Train, didn't you? Was it Monster?
That's the one that I wasn't too fond
You didn't
of.
like Monster Train?
I didn't love it. It's not that I
Uh,
didn't like it, but I didn't love it. But
Monster
AJ,
Train was great.
we haven't played a ton of these. What are you talking about?
Well, then there was Tainted Grail. There was something else in its name, but it was something Tainted Grail.
That's still only four.
Well, I guess. You know what I'm talking about, Keith, right?
Yeah, but that still doesn't feel like the one. You
But I
said it
guess it
because you
must have
said
been
it
Monster
was
Train.
either way. Because you
Yeah.
said it was a card game.
Yeah.
I guess
that is. I think that is probably the only option. So yeah. So I guess it was Monster Train then.
Monster Train was loud.
I loved Monster Train.
It was so much fun.
But anyway, let's get into the story though of Wildfrost. So Wildfrost, as I said, you are in Earth. I don't know. You're in some sort of world that the Earth, obviously had a sun, brought sunlight, warmth, happiness to everyone. But a storm came by and trapped the sun in a dark sphere, ice block, covered the world in frost, and you are kind of the last remaining civilization where you are trying to send people out to try to hopefully reignite the sun and bring back the sunshine. So you're playing one of three tribes, which I can't remember if you said it during recording, Liz, or if your mic was
They
on. The three
are
tribes.
the Snow Dwellers, the Shade Mancers, and the Clunk Masters.
Thank you, Keith. Look at Keith bringing his
I-
A game here. But you were playing one of these three tribes. You were trying to obviously do a run to try to get the sun back and fight the big bad guy and bring back the sun. So going around, I gotta say, I did like the story. I know it's kind of a means to an end, but I do like that there was an effort put into this story, and I think it's actually kind of cute. It's dark, but also not, because we'll get into it once we get into the graphics. But I actually like this game's story. To me, it was enough that it kept me interested because you're finding these journal pages as you're progressing through your runs. There's only a handful. There's not a lot of journal pages.
But they're not too long either.
No, they're not.
Which I like. I mean, especially because like if you're not gonna have cutscenes and stuff, I don't want to read a ton when I'm just trying to play the game. And so I actually really like that the journal pages were short and sweet.
Yeah, I think I got all but the last journal page, maybe. Because I never actually beat a second run, and I don't know how far we
What
want
a
to get into that now.
loser.
I know, right? I,
Wow.
well, I mean, we can get into that. I think I don't know if that's a spoiler if we talk about
No,
what
it's part of the mechanic. I think we need to talk about it.
because that's exactly where I went wrong. But we can talk about the story first. I thought it was fine means to an end. I wasn't really paying a huge attention to it. I was just like, yep, fine, cool, carry on. I like the gameplay. The gameplay was fun.
I did have to Google what the story was before we recorded because it was so long since I had started the game. I'm assuming that's when I found that out. But I did have to Google it. I completely forgot all about it. Even I've been reading the journal pages too. I just, I guess it's not that interesting. It's cute, but it's didn't hold my attention.
I mean, it's definitely something you can forget about if you put the game down for a while, which you did.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started playing this when it first came to Game Pass, and then you kind of fell off on it
I
and then got
got
back to it.
so many books for Christmas.
Andrew.
And it's been, yeah, Andrew did
No,
that too.
I did not buy your books.
You
Don't
got me a
blame
graphic
me.
novel.
I got that's not a book. It's a graphic novel.
You still read it.
Yeah, but it has pictures.
And I'm actually watching like TV again. There's been so many things I've wanted to do that I've been. And my mom got me a one of those diamond painting kits.
You're who? Say it again, Liz. Come on.
I've never done one before. Accent came out a little bit there. I like that you're still drinking that, Andrew.
That's so gross.
So
I guess I should just put a caveat in this episode. I apologize. I had a board game night at my house, and one of my friends decided to buy me a Four Loko. So I have been drinking one tonight.
Gross. So
It-
gross.
The last time I had one of these when it actually had energy in it, and those things were illegal.
What flavor is it?
I don't know. America.
It's red, white, and blue.
I know.
Yeah.
I
No, it
mean,
literally is Loco USA. So whatever flavor that is.
Mm,
This
I guess
episode's
it.
not sponsored, so I. You want to try it? Go ahead, Liz.
No, they don't even list the ingredients.
Because you don't want to know.
I
As an American, it's the same with like hot dogs. You don't want to know the ingredients to a hot dog. You just eat it and you enjoy it. But anyway, so the story for the most part is kind of a means to an end. But I at least like that there was an attempt to a story. But let's talk about the gameplay because that's what we're here for. Anybody's here for. So as I said, Wild Frost here is a deck builder roguelike. So you are picking one of three tribes. Obviously, you start off with just one tribe. You are given three leaders, each with different abilities, whether they be like, oh, they can freeze people more, or this person, gains an attack every time it does its turn. But when it comes to the gameplay, you have a 2-lane grid for you and the enemy side. You are placing down your champions, which are your actual playing cards. You have a leader. Your whole purpose is to not let your leader die. All your other people can die. It's not a big deal. But as soon as your leader dies, it is game over. Restart your run. So your whole purpose is to keep your leader alive. You as a player have more direct control as to who you are damaging on the enemy side or who you're buffing on your ally side. Every time you play a card, it counts as a turn. Every card has a turn counter. Once it gets down to 0, that card will do its action, which it has on it. So it's hard to kind of explain this gameplay without being too convoluted and being in the weeds. But overall, you are more playing in this game as opposed to Slay the Spire, where you are playing as the character and doing abilities. This one, you were more dictating the battlefield. I don't know if that was a good description.
yeah.
Okay.
I picked up what you were putting down.
Okay. I feel like you both are looking at me like I'm weird.
I also.
it's
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead, Liz.
For me with the gameplay, I found like what I wasn't really doing well at first because I I didn't really have a strategy for the first couple runs. I actually loved when you helped me, by the way. But I don't know about you guys, but I didn't utilize crowns at first, and
Sorry. I dropped that pretty hard.
and realizing that like everything with crowns starts you start at the beginning and it doesn't take up one of your turns was like a game changer for me, and I didn't utilize it all at first because I kept buying the charms, buying the little trinkets that you put on there, but the crowns were it.
Yeah.
That was 100% the game changer for me. I didn't win my first run, and I guess only run, until I figured out buying crowns, and that was probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 runs in, and I used them, and I had it a couple times because I think I'd gotten far enough where you get the kind of big boss unlock or whatever. So I used them. It just never really clicked with me. And I was like, oh wait, if I just put out all my heroes immediately, I can I can pretty much gear this up a lot differently, and I can strategize a whole lot differently. And I had some really fun runs, and that's where I think, and maybe it's because of how they build the gameplay, but one of the things that, I don't know, like, I think you might actually be right, Andrew. I'm willing to be sold on this a little bit further because I'm not opposed that this might be more fun than Slay the Spire to me, because it has that, like, any run can just turn on a weird, I don't
Andrew,
know,
you gotta
like
stop.
you can just build things, or like build something out of nothing where you think something's not going anywhere, it does. So there's just a lot of fun twists and turns, and that's one of the things that I like about it. What is Andrew doing right now?
He's just playing noises,
I'm
and there's like
sorry.
this audio going, and I can't hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying
Stop putting stuff up.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to put up Keith's playtime.
Use your phone. The first 3 times, it's like, come on. I felt like this and Slay the Spire. There were runs that I was like, I just want this to be over. Like, this is not going well for me. And sometimes I was too intimidated with the different deck builds that you could do. Like for one, there was one that you like it kept saying to kill an ally. And then I saw more cards coming that I was like, I should have gone that route. This looks awesome. But I was kind of nervous about trying it, and my run was lame. But I felt like that was Slay the Spire too. And I there were some though where like I had one where I was just summoning like extra people all the time, and I had such a fun run with it. But there were some times where I was like, I'm not gonna win. Like I already knew. But then sometimes I would surprise myself, be like, I'm not gonna win, and I was like, oh, I won this one. And but I didn't, I kind of didn't know what I was doing.
How many times did you win, Liz?
I don't know, at least once.
Gosh, this is why I wanted to look at the playtime. Keith, you love roguelikes. How did you only win once? How much time did you think you spent on this game?
Total gameplay, I'd guess somewhere in the 15 hours.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm
I
maybe
don't know, maybe.
10 hours and I've won 4 times, 5.
Oh, if you want an example of how bad I am at figuring out these games at first, they do. I figured out they do give you warnings if you're about to accidentally kill your leader. They don't let you just do it. Because I was trying to play a card and I'm like, why won't it let me? And then I was like, I looked on the left and I was like, oh, it's telling me it's gonna kill my leader and I can't do it. And I'm like, at that point, my leader's gonna die anyways. My health's really low, but it wouldn't let me do it, which is kind of nice.
See what I loved about this game over what I think I liked more about this than over Slay the Spire. These runs are quick. If you are doing a good run and you even beat the game, you're looking at 30 minutes tops. You're essentially kind of getting what, like 6 fights till you get to the final boss, and then you fight the boss, and if you win, you win. But this is what I loved, because Slay the Spire. So it's very similar to Slay the Spire when, as you're traveling through the map, there's multiple paths. In Slay the Spire, it usually does like 3, 4 paths. In Wildfrost, it's 2. You can clearly see what's going to happen in these 2 paths. Do you want to have more companions? Do you want to have more treasure? Do you want to have more charms, which buffs your cards? And it's very simple.
Yeah, it's more like Monster Train.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Monster Train did the same thing. Yeah. And that's what I loved about it. And because that's also why I loved Monster Train, because it's very simple, it's quick, you know what's going on. I can easily put this game down mid-run, pick it up, and know what I'm doing, where I am, and what's going on. And like that's what I loved about this game. And like like I said, I've won like 3 or 4 times. The big difference with this game, I know Keith, you were kind of hesitant to say, but I don't think it's that big of a spoiler. When you beat the game, you're trying to fight this spirit at the end that's controlling the sun. But if you kill the spirit, it possesses your team. So your team that you win with is now the final boss. So I'm currently stuck because the team I won with is so incredibly good that I've gotten to it 2 times and I've just been smoked by them.
That's
so this is
where I'm stuck.
Cool. Yeah. So how good was your team that you've only been able to win once?
So do the crowns matter for one? Like
yes.
If you have crowns. So I had a fully crowned team. We'll start with that.
Well, it doesn't matter as a final boss because they just come out anyway.
They all have barrage, poison, and what's the purple one? Not ink. The one that does like double damage.
Oh, demonize.
Yeah, and demonize. So, one of them has an acorn thing that he applies, and I think is in like the 20s to start, like for health. Like it's just the
okay.
Whole thing.
So I understand now, Keith, why you're struggling.
Yeah, you just even if you have a full crown team, it basically just I think the highest that any of them have is like 4 on a counter. So it's like you start the run, and unless you have a really, really quick freeze on them, you're toast. And I actually got through the team the other day, and then I got to the spirit and I died. Because I had this run where I was playing as the Clunk Masters, and I had a frenzied hero who created junk, and then the junk I could use to recycle, and it was just like I had like a ton of recyclables with like freezing and applying all kinds of different effects, so I could just chew down anything that came through because I could freeze it all, and I just constantly had an influx of junk, and I had a couple of the ones that would drop my counter, increase my attack, so I just kept applying that to my hero every single time, so he would just whittle down everything. It was awesome. And that was the one I almost got through my heroes with because I could freeze them enough. But then I got to the demon boss.
Yeah. The team I currently have as the final boss is brutal. Like they just constantly freeze and they have a ton of health. And so the couple times I've gotten to them, I'm like, I built too strong of a team, and now they are the worst enemy, and they are very hard to beat. But this is one thing I love about this game. There's not a lot of mechanics. So as I said, there's usually when you're playing, you can have up to four cards on the battlefield. You have your leader and three companions, which you start off with a pet, which counts as a companion. So that's it. You don't have a lot of characters that are on the field, but you have these trinkets that are called charms, which are essentially perks. So of course they say things like, oh, add +3 attack to their attack power, add +7 health to them, or every time they're attacked, they add one attack to everybody. It depends, obviously, what the charm is, but there's not a lot of them. So you're kind of essentially buffing these cards, these champions that you have that you put on the battlefield. And they obviously carry over if you win the game. Those cards with those buffs are the final boss if you win the run. So the team I have right now is very difficult to beat. But this is what I love. It's very simple mechanics. Everything that you read on this game, I think you could easily put down in a month, pick it up again, and remember everything.
Yeah, I think the worst I had is like I picked it up in the middle of a run and I didn't quite know what my build was. I was a little confused on that, and that lost me the run, but I don't think I was going to win no matter
Yeah.
what happened. But as far as the overall like mechanics of the gameplay are concerned, I like immediately knew what was going on.
I will say when I started playing this game, and honestly, I need labels. When you go at the beginning and they have those different buildings, which it's nice when you go to them and they tell you what challenges to unlock companions and stuff like that. But the buildings aren't labeled, and I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how to start another run the first time that I played. Like I played a run and then I went back to town. I'm like, where do I go? I accidentally kept hitting every building except for the bottom center one, and I was like, this is
The one
ridiculous.
that's by the stairs.
Yes, I was very tired. I'm gonna blame that, but I was just like, I cannot even start a new run. And you know how I love to just like Google stuff. I'm like, no, this is
You
embarrassing.
Googled
No,
how
I
to
didn't.
start
I
an
Why do you
icon.
do
didn't.
this?
I didn't. I'm saying I knew that I should not do that. I was like, it's right in front of my face. But they're not labeled. They should be
I'm curious.
labeled.
I'm curious if you actually do Google that. I kind of want to Google it to be like, you hit A. Like,
No, because there's the different buildings. It wasn't on that one, and I was like, I kept thinking that I tried that one, but
I
I
feel like
tried
if
all the.
anything, I accidentally had that come up more often, where it was like, "Hey, do you want to start a new run?" I was like, "No, I'm trying to find the the
Oh, it's the opposite for me.
guy
I know it now. I know which
inventor."
one to
There we go.
hit, but
well, Google AIs kind of gives you a simple answer there, Liz.
well, I didn't Google it. I was like, I do you know what, Liz, you can figure this
I'm,
out.
I'm proud of you to figure it out how to start the game.
Yeah. So that's what I mean when I found it kind of complicated.
Here's a pro tip
Just
for
having
you.
you on this
Here's how you
podcast,
start the
Liz.
game.
Same with like I forgot how do you pronounce it? Barrage.
Barrage.
I wasn't even really looking at the cards too much, and you were like, Liz, you got to move that. That's barrage, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh yeah, they hit everybody. I should move that.
That's what barrage means. Got
This
it.
is what I mean when I need Andrew to help me when I start playing video games again.
I've missed having you on this
You
podcast,
you
Liz.
didn't know that I didn't realize what barrage was. Like I forgot what it meant.
And,
Like
okay,
how do you forget what a word means?
don't get me wrong. I
You know?
understand. No, that is a legitimate confusion. I get that. But to start a run, that's a little weird. You're in the town. There's only like 6 things you can select. You didn't know how to
It
start.
felt like more.
No, but that's what they get. Like even in the town, a lot of the stuff is just trackers. So there's not a lot you're doing within the town. So it's just anytime you select on a building, it's like, oh, you unlock the next thing if you do this objective.
Well, that's the thing. If I unlocked something in the run, I sometimes I'd go back to town. Sometimes I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, I'll look at it another time.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake of going back to town.
But that's what I liked. When you lose a run, there's literally an option to go back to town, like Liz said, or just restart, in which instantly gives you the option of selecting a tribe. And anytime you start a run, it shows you the 3 tribe flags. There's Keith, what were they again?
It is the what is it, the snow
Snow
dwellers,
dwellers.
the shade mancers, the clunk masters.
Okay. The snow dwellers usually do a lot more kind of crowd control kind of effects. The shadow mancers summon minions that you kind of want to sacrifice and buff your team. And then the clunk masters are kind of the gnomes that are tinkerers and have tools and gadgets.
Isn't
So,
there a naked gnome?
yes, which is an
I
achievement to
didn't
get.
get him because I haven't unlocked that third group yet.
No, it's not a group. It's just an achievement to get that naked gnome.
Oh, I thought the gnomes was part of the third tribe.
The clunk masters are kind of gnomes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't unlock the clunk masters yet.
Oh, okay. Well, the
Yeah.
naked gnome is a card you can find in the middle of a run.
Oh. I also love that when you go to like a new battle, the health doesn't carry over unless your person gets taken out and they're injured.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have to build them back up. But besides that, the negative health doesn't carry over, which I like.
Yeah.
And
I love the battling in this game. It's super simple and it's quick. It's very much just, hey, you're fighting waves of enemies, take them out. That's the game. You won. Congratulations. Or lost. But I loved just the fighting in this game is just so simple and easy. And I love that I actually felt like I had more control. It feels like a puzzle of, hey, do I need to move my leader out of a different lane because they're going to die if they stay in where they are? Do I need to take out this target because I know they're going to attack next turn? Everything about this game just felt like a puzzle. And as Liz was saying, like, as a second pair of eyes, I could be like, no, Liz, don't do that. You want to move this person here, freeze this person, do that or this.
Or
It
put
just,
some person into resting because like they're about to be knocked off the board. So
yeah,
you can heal them. And I don't think that costs a turn, does it?
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, it's hard to explain this game to somebody who has not played it. I know what we're saying. Probably a lot of people who've never touched this game. It sounds like gibberish, but this game is super simple. But when you play it, it's like a puzzle, and I love it.
but it is a little bit why I was saying though, like I don't think if you're avert like have an aversion to roguelike deck builders and things like that, you're gonna be like, oh, Wild Frost, this game's for me. But I think if you even have a general enjoyment of them, you're gonna like this to some degree. I think it's just gonna vary. And I think part of it, it's like, I don't know, isn't that like how Magic the Gathering plays? You kind of have like a little playing field of like how you're playing and moving cards around and things of that nature. I've never played that, so I don't actually know for sure, but I think it's
I have.
like,
So
that's where
I
it's almost like a little more of a question and at
see.
the same time.
Yes and no. So to me, all right. So Magic the Gathering, like it is very heavy on synergy. You need to make sure you have the right colors, what you're building, what you're doing. Every card you are playing works in some way to your deck. In this, I felt like the selection is so much more limited that if you can just slightly plan out, you can figure it out. Like you just need 1 or 2 cards to work with each other for it to work in Wild Frost. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's as heavy as Magic the Gathering, but I see where you're coming from, Keith. But to me, I feel like this is much more simple with its mechanics.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say it's like a heavy close, close gameplay. I just mean in some way, shape, and form of like, yeah, how you move cards around the battlefield and kind of have to strategize where they're at and how they play and everything. That's what I was thinking.
I love looking at the cards for Magic the Gathering. I haven't played it, I remember
I tried to
playing.
teach you once.
Well, yeah, and then you guys try to teach me Munchkin too. I just, I don't know if it was because it was like later at night, or I just don't get like card games like that. Like it's hard for me to understand. That's, I mean, if you've been listening for a while, you already know that Andrew loves board games, but I always make him read the instructions and just explain it to me. He'll just read like,
Munchkin, you need like one person alone
Yeah.
to describe it to you, because if there's more than one person, everybody's going to try to explain it at the same time, and then nobody explains it right, and it gets overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's I've done it before. I've been in those, but where I'm the person over explaining it, so
I love Munchkin.
it's so much fun.
You still don't understand Munchkin? We played it a bunch with Keith.
I don't think we played it that much. We played a bunch of different board games with Keith. It was with
I
Keith
feel
that
like
we
we played
first
Munchkin like three
played.
times.
What is it, Hanabi? That's when I
Yeah.
first
Oh,
played
I forgot about that
Hanabi.
game.
Yeah, we couldn't find the game with the actual tiles. We have like the paper one,
Yeah.
paper version, which it's still fun,
Okay.
but yeah, I really like that game.
Oh man, let's not start getting into board games because we were just playing board
I
games.
know.
We literally were just playing.
Well,
I
you
have Hanabi
were.
somewhere, but I couldn't find my copy of Hanabi. But I also brought Munchkin. We are gonna play some Munchkin.
It's a good time.
I know. I love board games. Now I've been drinking too much because we were playing board games, and I feel like I'm talking too much. But anyway, back to Wildfrost. What was your favorite tribes? Did you guys like? So there's the three that we had: the Snowmancers, the Shadowmancers, and the Clunkmasters. I gotta say, my favorite, they're most difficult to play with, is the Shadowmancers that are summoning little minions. But the cards they play with are a ton of fun. If you can get the minions where you're sacrificing them and buff your team, I loved the Shadowmancers. Because usually when a companion dies during a battle, they're gone for the battle until the next battle. But the Shadowmancers can always summon these little minions that just constantly keep populating the field. I love the Shadowmancers.
Yeah, I didn't utilize them the way that I knew that I should. I said earlier that like I saw that you like sacrifice allies, and I didn't really understand it. And then after seeing the other cards, I was like, oh, I should have gone that route. But I haven't played with them a lot. I like with the snow dwellers specifically because I just love freezing enemies. That's my favorite trick.
It is. It's
Not
hard to
e-
do though. I feel like
Yeah.
freezing is hard to come by.
No, I agree. But that's the
Unless you hit Snoffles.
yeah,
You love that card.
I did.
Yep.
And Big Berry. Love Big
Big Berry.
Berry.
Get get a Snuffle with a barrage on there.
Yes.
He's not fun. Well, he is fun unless you fight
Literally,
him.
literally, the team I have to fight as the final boss, like the one I won the run
Has-
with, has a Snoffles that literally attacks every 2 turns. So he literally keeps freezing everyone every 2 turns.
Yeah,
He's a
I have
pain to deal with.
I have to take a screenshot of this team that I put together the next time I go up against them, just because I feel like it's got to be very similar. But I don't know. I think I liked them all, and I think it's partially because there's three and they're simple. I had fun. I had fun with the Shadowmancers because I really liked the one that every time you sacrifice, it just got stronger and stronger. So I would
Yeah.
always save that one. And then if you could like, there's the copy guy, so I would copy that card. So then I would have two of them. And I
Yeah.
would just sit there and boost the heck out of those two. Um, I was saying I had that really fun run with the Junk Masters where I was just loading up on like these junk cards, which then you can just sacrifice in mid run to use all these mechanics. I like that's a lot of fun, and I think the one I'm going up against is a Snow Dweller team, if I'm correct, because again, like Liz said, the freezing is a lot of fun. It's just it gets to be kind of hard because it makes sense because they don't want you to just freeze lock every single enemy you go against, but a lot of the bosses tend to have like that mechanic where you can only freeze them for one turn no matter how many times you hit them with freeze, so that gets to be a little bit tough. But if you get the one character that gains attack every time you freeze something
Yes.
and actually
They
get
buff up quick.
yeah, I got it. I had it one run where I had two of the health charms on it. So it actually had like 9 health to start out, and I was just loading up. I'd have like 23 attack on that thing, just mowing things down. It was awesome.
This game feels so good when you have a team that just works so well. Like there's so many little mechanics. Like I said, I don't want to get into the weeds of how this game fully plays. It's hard to describe, but when you actually play the game, I feel like it's very simple. But when you get a team that just has synergy, it works so well. And that's what I mean. That's what I love about this game. Is like there's not a lot of cards you're putting on the field. It's mostly you as a player. As are you buffing your team this turn, or are you attacking the enemy team this turn? So you have to really look at your hand. What are you doing? What are you playing? Because every time you play a card, it's reducing the timer on all the cards on the field. And eh, this is just what I love about this game. It's so simple and easy to pick up. It's a great xCloud game. I played this many times at work. I could just do a run, play a battle, whether win or lose, and just anytime I lost, I always wanted to start another run. That is always a absolutely important feature with every single roguelike. As soon as a run ends, how much do you want to play again? And every time I'm like, I want to do it again. I felt like I can beat that run. I can do better. And it was great.
The only time for me that that's not true is when I have like a team that I really like, and I feel like with the cards with they look and stuff, like some of them I'm like I really love this character. I want to keep in it every run. And so for me, like if I have a really good run, that's when it's harder to pick it up again.
Well, pro tip, if you know you're going to lose your fight, quit the game and it'll restart the fight. Because there's been numerous times where I'm like, I love this team. I screwed up. I did not mean to play that card over there. Or my child hit the controller and it ended my turn. You can quit the game as long as you do not die. Your leader doesn't die. It restarts the fight.
The
Oh,
old
thanks for
save
telling
scum.
me
Yeah, the
that
old
when we're
save scum.
recording.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yep.
But no, I think and I think this is just another marker of it. I think whether or not the scale is as grand as some, like Slay the Spire can get, I think pretty crazy in terms of scale and the ascension levels you were talking about. But the easy to learn, hard to master of this type of game. And I think part of the difficulty in Wild Frost is there's no true like meta to a certain degree. There's
Yeah.
synergies that work, but you don't strive for the same thing every single time because your choices are limited. I mean, yes, you have 3 from each tribe that you can choose from, so you have 9 choices at random, and they're usually within some close basket of each other, but you're not like, okay, this is the one, I'm just going to get this every single time, and
Yeah.
as long as I have this, I know I'm going to win the run. It's you start that run, you go, okay, let me see what I can build into it. And if you had a really good run going prior, it always gives you at least one of your cards back from a prior run at some point. So you may very well pick up a good card, and you look at these cards at random and you go, okay, well, I'm going to roll the dice. I know I had this card in my hand. I hope I get this card. It will play really well with this champion. You might get lucky, you might not, but it's playing so much more into the RNG, but you can still win a run. It's not like you've lost it if you don't get that at the same time.
Yes. Because that's always, once again, another big thing when it comes to deck builder car roguelikes is the RNG. To me, I feel like the RNG is so forgiving in this game. As you were kind of saying, Keith, like it did not mean it was like a win, like a run winning loss or a win. Like, oh, I need this card or I'm going to lose the game. I felt like I could always change my deck mid run. Like, yes, I would love to build poison, but I didn't get this poison card that, spreads poison to everybody. I didn't get it, but it doesn't matter. I feel like I still could build a little bit to my deck to accommodate that. And so I never felt like I was a slave to the RNG in this roguelike, which is very crucial to games like this.
See, I never like changing horse midstream. I
That's
don't.
the word. That's a
What?
phrase.
Yeah, I don't like doing that. And same with like you can go to the I think it's called a muncher and they can get rid of cards for you.
Yep.
But for me, it's just like I feel like I'm wasting time starting over, and I just can't bring myself to do it. I don't know why. Once I pick something with like a game like this, I stick with it. If I go snow, I stay snow. That's probably why I'm not very good at it. I also think too, so I was thinking like how this didn't become addictive to me like Slay the Spire. And I think I just realized the reason is because somebody got me re-addicted to Disney Dreamlight Valley. And because I was like, why am I not playing that? Like playing this as much or like
Uh,
wanting to. And somebody re-downloaded it on my Xbox, and I got burnt out
our
from that
5-year-old.
game. No, you, to,
Why
who
are you
helped the
blaming me?
5-year-old? Who helped the 5-year-old put that on my Xbox? But I had been burnt out, and I was like, oh, this isn't gonna, make me addicted again. I'm not. It's not gonna happen. I was burnt out from it. And then she handed me that controller and was like, "Mommy, will you help me?" And I and then I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
It's got a
So
whole lot of new stuff in there now.
yep. And so for me, it's like playing a game like this, having so much fun with Disney. It was really hard.
Disney
You
Dreamlight
love a good
Valley.
cozy game.
Uh,
I do, and it's so like Andrew. You're like, oh, you do the same thing over and over and over again. I love it.
I
do you
mean,
I
remember
so is
love
Disney
that
it.
with
Dreamlight Valley,
Wildfrost.
Keith?
I do. I actually had it in my hands within the last week. I was
Oh,
my 3-year-old. He saw it on the screen. I don't remember what character he was pointing at, but he wanted me to play it, and he thought it was the funniest thing in the world when Goofy was running around behind us. Like he was in
I
hysterics,
love
just cracking up
Goofy.
when Goofy was chasing us. Is what he kept saying. So
Well, then I also we saw Vanellope on there, and then all of a sudden we're watching Wreck It Ralph. I've never seen it. I'm not really like, oh, I'm gonna watch kids movies, and now I'm becoming that person.
Wreck It
see,
Ralph is
I
actually
always said
Encanto,
I
pretty
don't
good.
like Disney movies, but I love Pixar movies.
Encanto, you don't love Encanto?
Condo's okay.
Wow.
Wreck It Ralph is actually just a Disney, isn't it? It's not a
Yeah, it
Pixar, I
is.
think.
You know, I think you might be right. I don't think it's actually Pixar.
It is,
I think it's
but
just Disney.
it's they have some of their animated are better than I give them credit for. I will say I agree. Pixar is definitely way better,
Yeah, because
large in parts, but they have some pretty good
our
Disney
5-year-old was getting
animation.
into Wally.
Oh well, Wally is a whole
Wally's
different
great.
story.
Wally's
Wally's great.
We are getting on
Anyways,
a very random tangent here.
And I was just trying to say that that this game, like fun level, it didn't beat out Disney Dreamlight Valley for me, and unfortunately, it was up against that this week.
Disney Dreamlight Valley is fine as a cozy game, but it literally is doing chores over and over again. Literally every quest you get, they're like, "Oh yeah, we now want this gem. Start mining gems for us, slave. And you're mining to get rubies. Cool, you got those rubies. Now next quest. Yeah,
But
we
you know
want
what?
we want some
Mining
wheat. Get us some
seems
wheat."
fun though.
Ah,
In games, like I'm not saying I want to mine in real life, but in games they just make it seem so fun. And then you see those little gems sticking out, and you're like, "Oh, there's a good one in there. I got my mining
I
buddy with
know.
me." Like, yes, like
no, I would much rather play Wildfrost here. Don't get me wrong. I started to pick up Dreamlight Valley, and I'm like, okay, I get the appeal.
I like not having to think.
It's okay. Okay, Disney Dreamlight Valley is essentially the same as a clicker game, like Cookie Clicker, or any sort of idle game.
Yeah,
It's literally the same kind of mindless concept that you can just
but
turn your brain off and do the same
that's
task over and
that's
over
the
again.
thing. I feel like we're in a stage in our life where we don't sleep. And so when it
Yeah.
comes to video games, I really do enjoy having just a game that I can shut off my brain. I did enjoy using my brain for Wildfrost sometimes, but there are some days where I'm just like, I didn't sleep last night. I don't want to think about it.
Wildfrost I will say, is the thinker game.
Yeah. But it's a fun think when you have the like the mental energy. But sometimes you just don't have it.
Maybe you should take a magic mind.
Or maybe I should.
Hey, swords don't come for free.
But anyway, the other thing I really want to talk about with comes to Wild Frost is the graphics. I loved this game's art style.
Because it's adorable.
Well, you, I don't think
Yes
ever
and
watched the
no.
show, but this game is the art style is very reminiscent of Adventure Time. It is almost
Okay,
like
yeah, I can see.
spitting image of Adventure Time. If you watch that cartoon,
What is Adventure Time?
Adventure Time is a wonderful cartoon that's on Cartoon Network. Hold on, I'll pull it up. I should Google it for you, Liz, because you are not a cultured person,
Wow. Okay.
but you are, Keith. Do you agree?
Yeah, I can see that. I never watched it a lot, so I don't, but I know at least the art style, and I can see it.
I don't see it at all. But as long as you guys do, that doesn't remind me of it at all.
Really, you don't think these characters could be in Wild Frost?
No.
Wow.
I guess I can see it a little bit. It does not look like a good show.
Oh no, Adventure Time is actually a very good show.
It is.
It's because it's goofy and weird, but it actually has an overarching story that's actually very deep and kind of
As is
sad.
tradition.
Yeah, that
got
sounds
this
like my type
final.
of show, a sad show.
Not sad, but like deep.
Like, I
Once
don't
you
even
start
collect
understanding
finals,
the
but this
characters'
is really cool.
backstories,
Are you seeing this?
yes. Wait, they have a vinyl?
Yeah.
Wait, how do they have a vinyl? This isn't a Devolver game, is it?
No,
No.
Chucklefish. That doesn't mean they can't do it.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Go back there, Keith. Balatro and Wildfrost.
It's just a Steam bundle.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, they're doing like cards here in Balatro? No,
Yeah,
to me,
no,
I don't know. I think if you've seen Adventure Time, to me, the art style is very reminiscent of Adventure Time because when you're playing Wild Frost and you're reading the story and understanding it, it's very kind of dark and sad and gloomy, but you would not suspect it because the color palette is very bright. The characters are very cheery looking. I mean, honestly, even when you're battling these creatures, there is quote unquote blood. A lot of these creatures are berries or ink. So there's like inky blood or berry blood, which you can scale. So if you have young children around, you could increase the blood or decrease the blood.
I
You can also
never
turn it
noticed
rainbow.
that.
You never notice that your cars would get covered in blood?
I wonder if I accidentally turned it off or I'm just so unobservant that I didn't
See, I
notice.
turned it up. So,
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
you could
yeah.
also turn it rainbow, which
oh
is
yeah.
fun because that's what I did.
But it's like I don't think any kid would normally look at it and be like, "Oh yeah, that's bloody." Oh man, because it's obviously like pink and like grays and blues. It's very just colorful, but it was a cool design of if your characters are battling, that there would be kind of blood on the battlefield and your cards would be coated in blood, which would carry on. So even when you start the next battle, they're still kind of covered in that blood. Super cool looking. The art style in this game is very awesome because it's simple but has these little details to it that work very well.
Yeah, I forget the guy, but there's this older
Big Berry.
character and he looks like Jazz. I forget his name. But he
You know the old guy who looks jazzed. The descriptions is great, Liz. What did he do?
My phone's in the other room. I don't know.
Also,
I loved him so much I can't remember what he does.
I don't remember, but he looks like I have your phone, please. I'll find him.
I do have my phone.
Yeah, I didn't have my phone. I had to charge my phone.
All right, I have the computer right here. Do you want me to Google something? Liz?
old guy.
Old guy looks jazz. Wildfrost. Oh my gosh, I want to Google this.
I mean, I think this is just giving me all the cards.
It does kind of look like him, but he doesn't look Jazz. Oh, it's because he's playing jazz music.
Okay. I gotta screen share this. Oh my gosh. This
Did
was
you find the
Google
card?
images of old man who looks jazzed in Wildfrost.
Okay.
Liz, does any of these remind you of the card?
I'm not gonna say which one.
All right, but what about this card, Liz?
Do you know what? It made me happy when I saw it. So there's cute characters, but there's also characters where it's just like, man, I'm glad that you're here.
So this is the naked gnome, Liz.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that.
Okay.
Where is he?
It, well, so anyway, I guess I'll continue talking about the art style.
Stupid audio.
This game is very good with its art style. Even when you look at the cover image, it's chaotic and wild. But when you play the game, there's not a lot. Like I said, this game is very tight. I felt like with a lot of roguelikes you play, you're like, oh, I got to put like 20 hours in this game to fully unlock things to really kind of have fun with its builds. In Wild Frost, I felt like literally turn one, I really could start working towards things and I could just play with things and have a lot of fun with. I feel like we're all very busy Googling here, and we're just filling with
I'm
dead
sorry.
air
I
right
know
now.
you're right. You're right. I am sorry. Do you know what? The pictures aren't loading and it's frustrating me. But I also wanted to mention too that Snoffle is different than Snoof. Snoof is the dog.
Yeah,
Snoffle is the guy that throws the snowballs.
Oh, you love Snuffle is great. So Snuffle base card, he is a companion you get. Every 3 turns, freezes every enemy for 1 turn. No, every 4 turns. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'll screen
I'm
share.
sorry. What were you saying when I wasn't listening? When I was rudely not listening to you?
I mean, that's all the time, isn't it?
Wow. Okay. I'm not apologizing again. I tell you.
Do you remember what this guy did?
I almost looked like he had a bomb or something. I think he went his attack when he's hit, like the attack goes up. Maybe
When he's hit, the lowest person with attack gains damage.
that might be it.
Okay, that his name is. It's something with an R. I literally just had him on my team. This is great podcasting right here.
We're really good at this.
I don't think it begins with an R. It's not in the thingamabob. Well, I feel bad if anybody's listening, because you can edit it out.
Uh,
I have them all pulled up. I'm not. Kill. Shikichi is the one that I liked.
Watch it be like the most lackluster card.
no, I like him a lot. He's a very good card.
Yeah, it's really bothering me.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna do a
When
lot.
a card is
editing here.
destroyed, gain 1 attack. No, when healed, gain 2 attack.
When damaged, gain 1 attack to the lowest damaged person, is what the card says. I love we are all scouring for this right now. Is anyone watching this live? No. Okay,
like, I
good.
know that card.
I mean, I can just figure it out after. I mean, there's
That's
a
annoying.
Wild Frost thing that shows all the characters, but they're not pictures aren't loading. Yeah,
Well,
Well, that's
that's what I was
that's
just
where
on
I'm at.
there.
Deal 6. But I don't have the one that you're saying. When hit, add lost health to a random ally.
Oh my gosh. Is this going to be one of those Shazam kind of things where you're like, oh, this character exists, but it doesn't actually exist? What is that? The Mandela effect?
Yeah, I think that's might be what's happening.
No. No, no. He is a real character. Has this just
It's
not been
you
updated?
said when damage. Is it one of the?
I'm looking at so many lists, like images, and they're not showing him. So that's why I'm like, I really feel like it's not real anymore.
Found him. Roybos.
Yes, you were right, and it was an
I
R.
told you. Roybos.
Oh, like the T.
Yes.
That's why he's jazzed. He had too much tea.
He's an 8 health, 3 attack. When hit, add +1 attack to the ally with the lowest attack.
Tell me he does not look jolly.
No, he looks angry.
Okay.
Like you would wanna have a drink with
Which
that
is
guy.
this?
Wait, there's a tea called Roybos?
What? Rooibos tea, right? Now I gotta Google that. Jeez, Andrew. I'm telling you. You know what? When I worked at that cafe, we sold that tea. Oh yeah, I think it's with another O though. It's spelled Rooibos.
Oh, Roybos. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry I distracted you guys for so long.
Anyway, what about this character?
We're talking about graphics, and when I saw him, he made me happy. Honestly, I'd probably pick him even if he wasn't, totally cool.
See, this is one thing I love about the Wild Frost's mechanics. So this character says, when hit, add +1 attack to the lowest person with the lowest attack. The text says when hit, so it doesn't mean he needs to take damage. So you could play your own cards that just do 0 damage to a character and hit him to activate his effect. So this is what it's like.
I never
Oh,
did
it's like the
that.
junk
Yeah.
cards.
Exactly, Keith. The junk cards, they do 0 damage. So you could hit him with a 0 damage card just to activate his ability. And this is what I mean. This is what I loved about Wildfrost. It is a very much a methodical puzzle kind of real time.
Yeah, like a
not-
read the card, find the
exactly.
trick.
Yeah. Yep. Read the actual text and figure out kind of a puzzle. So this is what I loved this more about than Slay the Spire. Because Slay the Spire to me was very heavy on RNG. Did you get that item to help complement your build? If not, you're kind of going to lose your run.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like you're certainly not going to get your infinite run or whatever. Like whereas I don't think Wild Frost even does infinite runs. Like it has the challenge runs,
Which
but it doesn't force you into doing them.
Yeah. But the music though, the music I feel like in this game is actually very catchy. It's very simple.
But if you play for too long of a time, it's like I could turn off the TV sound and be a little happy.
Yes and no.
I mean, you can play without it. I think you could say
Yeah,
easily.
yeah.
It becomes a bit much if you're playing for a long period of time.
This music though, it's actually caught in my head a couple times, and I'm literally laying in bed and I'm like, ooh, I'm literally playing the music in my head.
Like, ooh.
Yeah, I'm like,
is
this
that
is
all
actually,
you remember of
this
it?
is a catchy battle music.
Just like
can
that,
you do
too.
it more than ooh?
No, Liz, I've been drinking. I can't do
Ooh.
more than
I think
ooh
you
right now.
can. I think you'd surprise yourself.
I can't even speak in full sentences right now.
You just did one. Well, I guess I haven't done my elephant noise yet, so
He's going,
Oh.
ooh la la.
I can't really pester you.
Touche. I
One
do
of
not.
these days, Liz. One of these days.
We've had people request multiple times for you to do elephant noise.
No, you have not.
It's
Yes,
true.
we have.
You have never
have.
showed me anything written.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
That
Show
is
me
a-
right now. You show me stuff like if I get a critique or something. But I've never
Liz.
heard.
I can barely type right now.
Okay, well, show me tomorrow.
You're just
I don't
making
believe
excuses,
you.
but you have.
But Wild Frost does
The
have a soundtrack on
second you
Spotify.
booted up, I'm like, yeah, I
See,
recognize that.
this is Wild Frost's soundtrack is a jam.
Kind of makes you want to dance.
Yes.
It does.
Very dancey.
I don't want to dance to this.
Just said it makes you want to dance, and now you don't want to dance
Well,
to
not
it,
the
Liz.
second song. Wait, can they hear this?
No, I don't
Okay,
think
in a
so.
second.
Oh, okay. Well, we're listening to some jams right now. It kind of like makes you visualize somebody sneaking up on somebody, like in the forest or something.
Very jammy.
I actually really like Wild Frost's soundtrack. Is this a soundtrack I would listen to at work or in the commute? Probably not. Every song is less than 3 minutes long. There's one that's 3 minutes, but they're all
I
very
think
quick.
we've well exceeded copyright by this point.
Yeah, they're very repeatable. But I like this game's soundtrack. It's nothing too annoying because you're obviously playing a lot of runs over and over again. What is here is really
Very loud.
I love Liz's face right now. Liz was very much like, oh, music. And as I'm playing this, she's like, oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, after a while, it can get a bit much.
Right now, all these songs I'm playing, you tell me right now, you'd be like, oh, I'm so sick of hearing this.
After like over an hour, if it's repeating. You made your point. Shut up the music now.
All right, all right.
I think
all right.
we've well
We're a
exceeded our
music
copyright,
podcast now. Yeah.
and it was
All
very
right.
loud.
Can you hear it, Keith?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But no, I think the soundtrack is very well done. It's nothing too egregious, and it's very simple. I enjoy listening to it while I'm playing the game. This is a game I personally wouldn't want to put on mute because I do actually enjoy its soundtrack. So I give it an A+. But the achievements, usually when you're playing a deck builder roguelike, the achievements are egregious. They're usually like, oh, win the game with maximum difficulty and all of the trinkets activated, and it's super hard, and only 0.0001% of people will ever complete it. And Wild Frost, the achievements are very obtainable.
Yeah, you got 14 out of 27 achievements with a score of 430.
Oh my
Keith,
gosh, I missed you, Liz.
8 achievements with a score of 230. And I am in dead last with 2 achievements and a score of 40.
We have not done the achievement scores in so long. I missed you,
No,
Liz.
I don't think so.
But yeah, the achievements are very much so. Every time there's a build of poison, freezing, adding spice, which increases damage, that's an achievement. Can you get 50 stacks of spice, 20 stacks of frost? That's usually their achievement. So it's very obtainable. To me, I felt this game to be just nice on that. There is an achievement to actually beat the game. There is an ending to this game. As we said, when you beat a run, usually your winning team is the new enemy, but there is a way to actually beat the game. So there is a way to roll credits, and there's an achievement for it, but it's not egregious to do. So I really like the achievements in this game.
I think that's the word of the podcast.
What?
Egregious.
I literally just started saying it.
You said it 3 times.
Yes, but just recently.
I know. No, but I said
It's a good
no,
word.
not but the podcast in entirety. I mean, this episode.
Our podcast is
this
egregious.
Episode. No, this episode. The word is egregious. I just think
Our
everybody's
Googling
like,
recently was egregious.
I'm drinking too much. I can't type. And then you're like, it's egregious. Like, come
Egregious.
on.
I'm British
Like,
now.
it's got a British
Yes,
accent.
I can egregious.
What was that accent? Can you try that again?
Which one, me or Liz?
Yours for
You.
sure.
Yes, I can egregious.
Why
Yep.
are you funneling your beer?
I don't know what that is, as a matter of fact. It's like
It's a good egregious.
there's
Yeah.
definitely an accent that you're doing. I just don't know that it matches up with any actual real accent.
Yes, yes, that's what egregious. Should we get to any final thoughts here?
Love accents. Like you don't know how much joy
No,
I'm having
you-
right now.
You in British accents, Liz. Come on, do your British accent. You and your sister go these weird tangents. You guys are talking on the phone on speakerphone. You just start going British for whatever reason.
Do you know what? You sound
Oh,
very
yeah.
judgmental right now,
A little bit.
especially for the man
He's
stroking.
just
his
I have to
finger.
hear it all the time.
he's just mad because he can't do it.
Neither can Liz. Come on, Liz. Do your British accent.
Stroke your beard.
Yes, egregious. Do you want to stroke my beard?
We're not that kind of channel.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you. Shut that down.
We missed having you, Liz.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's get our final thoughts here on Wild Frost. I'll start while I still have some brain cells going on here. Wild Frost, like I said, is a definite game. I think this game is a ton of fun. If you like deck builder roguelikes, this is 100% you need to check it out. If you are wary about them, I actually feel like this game could sway you in liking them a bit more. Like I said, the mechanics are very simple. The art style is nice. The music's great. This is a game I feel like you could put down and within a week, instantly pick it up and remember 90% of the mechanics. I think Wild Frost is a ton of fun. For me, it's easily a 93. There's very little I could change about it.
I really like Wild Frost a lot. I liked it pretty much immediately, despite being stuck by my own demise because I didn't realize that I was setting myself up for failure.
You were just too good.
I was just too good, and now it's impossible for me to beat again. But it's really hasn't swayed me away from it at all. I think it's still a lot of fun. It's absolutely and like a lot of this genre can be it's a perfect game where I'm like, maybe I've taken 3 losses in Marvel and I need to just cool off a little bit. Wild Frost is a great cool off game, no pun intended. And I think part of what makes it so good is what Andrew was saying is that it's got a quickness to it, and it you don't feel like you're investing all this time, and even if the time you invest into it doesn't pan out, it doesn't feel like it's because of bad RNG. It's just you finally got outmatched and you only maybe played 20 minutes to get there. So it's really not all that much of an investment of time at the end of the day. So I think it's absolutely a must play if you're into deck builders, if you're into roguelites. I would recommend it to anyone who likes this style of game. I, I don't know if I fully agree with Andrew that it's gonna sway you on it, but maybe it will. And so definitely try it because it's easy enough to learn and it does a pretty good job of walking you through what you need to do, at least from the in its purest form. But like a lot of these, I think mastering it takes a little bit of time of really understanding the cards and the synergies and all that. But it's a lot of fun. I like it a lot. I will probably continue to play it, and I would give it an 88.
I gotta say, this soundtrack is a lot of toots and bells. It's
Like
like
toots.
a lot of
Is,
toots and bells.
is that why you're giggling away
Yeah,
over there?
like,
Just
I
giggling at
just
toots and bells?
I thought it was like Emmy music that it's like, oh, I'm gonna start playing the music while he's talking.
it's playing some very dramatic music while you're giving your review. So that's what we're kind of laughing.
Did you hear it, Keith?
No, it wasn't playing for me.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
I can do that for you.
It's also really hard to dance when I can't move my neck. I kind of awkward. I was
You're
planning
kind
on
of
giving
awkward?
it. No, I said kind of awkward. Not I'm kind of awkward. I mean, I am, but I was saying like, it's kind of awkward that I'm gonna give it 93 because it's already planning on giving it 93.
Whoa, 93.
But
Back, baby.
what I said earlier about Slay the Spire, it's so hard to concentrate with the music on. With Slay the Spire is I'm not saying that Slay the Spire is better or worse in this game. I think that this game is a lot of fun. I just had a lot of competing interests this week, and that kind of went out some days. And so, I mean, and partially it's your fault. So,
Apology accepted.
oh, Metacritic. TBD. I looked at the other platforms like PC, that kind of stuff, and I there were no negative reviews. It was all I think I saw 7 and up. There might be lower, but it's mostly good reviews. So
Liz, did Andrew tell you about the one I found the other day
no,
of our silent third code host? It
no.
was it was one of the most wild reviews he wasn't even saying turd. It was just weird analogy after weird analogy. He was like talking about his breakfast that he ate. It made no sense.
I wonder if he's doing all right. Was it a newer review?
I don't remember. It was in the last couple weeks. I'll see if I can find it.
That's a good question. Is
Is
Boy
he
Rex
is he
doing all right?
unwell right now?
Does he need a hug? Let's Google. Does Boy Rex need a hug?
Oh, you're supposed to say his name.
Does Boy George need a hug?
Yeah,
Did I mask it well enough? Good old Boy George. But anyway,
It's funny how much thought we put into this man, and he doesn't know we exist.
I'm curious. I'm
Oh, was
curious how he's doing.
Yeah.
it
Does he get
Stellaris?
sponsorships? Because like he hates everything. I can't see
Oh, I
him
think
being
it
like,
was.
"Hey, this is a
I
good
think it was
product."
Stellaris. It was a.
It was Stellaris. It was our last game that we did, or no, the one before, because it wasn't gigantic. It was Stellaris.
I'm not. I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but I will.
Thank
I
you,
will
Keith.
put it in the chat here, so Liz can see it. It's wild. But anyways, we're doing that really good audio thing again.
Yep. All right. So anyway, let's wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for joining us. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01152. Please join us for Discords or Discord or YouTube. Go to our link tree at linktree/GPGB. You'll find the links to all our things. We do our live recordings on Wednesday around 8:30 EST, where you can see us looking like a bunch of jabronis, and Liz is poking my nose as I'm trying to give this outro. Yeah, who's been drinking now, Liz? What was that? Thank you all so much for joining us. We love you all. Thank you to our wonderful Patreon members and our wonderful sponsorship, Magic Mind, keeping us going, even though we've been doing a terrible job with this. Liz, thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna let you go next.
Thanks for having me. I'm Liz Anoop, gamertag Covenant Dean. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Liz Anoop. Noob is W.
Oh man, it's been so long since we heard you say that.
You missed it.
I have missed it. Real quick shout out to David Spare. Once again, gave us another comment wondering when we are going to do Halo Reach.
Oh gosh.
Keith is very
I
excited
was
for
just
that.
gonna say Keith just made his night.
We might have to do a me, Liz, and Aaron episode for that.
Yeah.
I think I played Halo Reach.
Halo Reach was the last Halo game that Bungie did.
Okay. Okay.
But David Spare, we've heard you. We will get to Halo Reach eventually because I have actually some thoughts on Halo Reach. Some good, some bad.
It's not as good as the Halo show.
Keith, you better wash your mouth out with soap. Keith, say an outro. Say something that people are. People, they've listened over an hour of this episode. They're like, man, I can't wait to hear what Keith has to say in this episode.
I think everyone's checked out.
He's going to spit some wisdom. Keith, should I invest in Bitcoin right now?
Yes.
That's terrible advice.
No.
100K, Keith.
I don't remember the last time
No.
I Bitcoin.
It's blowing. It hit 100K per Bitcoin.
I mean, but it could still go up higher, right?
Good, I guess. Sky's the
So
limit.
there.
Diamond hands.
I could be right. I could be wrong. I don't
What
know.
other
I've been
wisdom do you have to
Keith.
spit, Keith?
Same old, same old. I've been Keith. This, that, and the other.
I'm so glad I'm
No
not
one else.
editing
No,
this episode.
no one's listening at this point.
I'm not even listening. Hey, everyone. If you are watching this live, I apologize. This is probably not a very good episode to listen to live. But thank you all for joining us. We love you all. We will see you again next week. Liz, I'm trying to hang up here.
Bye,
Okay,
guys.
bye.
Uh